This is Brandon Rabar, your host for today, and this is a dispatch from Daily Thunder. Every story, every game, every day. Welcome to the Daily Thunder podcast. I am your host, Brandon Rabar, beat writer for dailythunder.com. I am joined by Ryan Woods, contributor to dailythunder.com. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm torn on this Thunder win against the Miami Heat. They won by 1 point, a game winner from Mike Muscala off an assist from Darius Bazley, who got a double team, found the open man, game winner. The crowd goes wild, or does it? The Thunder lose their first-round draft pick. They won a fun game that was meaningless. What do you think? Smart, not smart? Hey, it's fun. Who cares? Or dang it, we lost the first-round pick.
I guess it is a bummer. I think we'll feel the downer of not having the pick on draft night more than we do right now. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun win. I think regardless of whether we won tonight's game or not, we were not keeping that pick. It just too many things needed to happen for us to keep it. But it was a not entertaining game, and then it became one late. So that was fun way to spend the evening. But Mike Muscala just nails late in the game. A couple big threes, and then Bazley just a fantastic night.
I mean, Bazley, this is his third straight game over 20 points. He hit his career high 23, then he had 22 last game, then 21 this game. So I guess in the playoffs, the first series, we expect him to score 20, 19, 18, and 17. I'm excited about Darius Bazley. To me, that's the story of the bubble for the Thunder has been Bazley. So, number one, that's great. So, if the Thunder were going to win and lose that first-round draft pick, to me, it was a good way to do that. If it would have been like Devin Hall, Deonte Burton, guys who weren't in the big plans, Miami's fifth stringers, water boys and stuff like that, I'm like, well, it sucks to lose the pick that way. But when you got somebody who's a potential building block of the future like Bazley, and the team kind of rode him, I mean, that can be great for his confidence going forward and in these playoffs. I would have liked for him to hit the game-winning shot, but he did draw the double team. It looked like they drew up the play for him, but he made the right read and found the open man for the game winner.
Yeah, it was an awesome read by Bazley. It looked like the play was initially for him to take the shot, and he liked what he saw going to the basket and found Mike. Yeah, it was a great read from him, and like you're saying, like his development and what we've seen so far from him has been probably the most encouraging thing of the game so far. He's been reliable. He's been a good defender. I think he's getting a little quicker, rotating when a guy out on the perimeter gets beat. It's good to see. I hope to see a little more of him on the defensive end, specifically going forward. But his offense is really starting to look good. His shot seems to have a much better arc. Like it doesn't, even his misses don't look, you don't get those like violent clangs off the rim anymore. He's in a great rhythm right now. So I hope to see more minutes from him, maybe a little less Diallo, a little less Robertson, if it means more minutes for Bazley.
Ooh, that last thing was a hot take. A little less Robertson, huh? Man,
he looks good, but he looks good against the other team's third string. Like it just doesn't seem like he's that effective when he's playing actual rotation minutes. It feels like he's mopping up against lesser talent. I just don't know if he's ready to go for big rotation minutes in the playoffs yet.
I know what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I am a Robertson stan, so I'm going to keep believing that he's back and better. His three-point shot is definitely better. There is zero doubt about that anymore. He was 2 of 3 from 3 tonight. His defense, we'll see. That brings up the next point. The other big news from this game was Lou Dort banging knees with Jay Crowder, went out of the game, never returned. The Thunder are waiting on imaging to be done. By the time you're listening to this podcast, the news may already be out. But if Lou Dort misses any time for the playoffs against the Rockets, in the regular season, he did a great job on Harden. Who do you think the Thunder use in the starting lineup? You think it'll be Nader, Terrence Ferguson, Andre Robertson, Diallo? What do you think that they do? Hopefully it won't come to that, but if it does.
If you had to ask me right now, I'd say Diallo. I would say anyone but Ferguson, based on just he hasn't been playing much. We've seen it time and time again. It's very confidence driven with Ferguson, as it is with many players. And when he's not getting minutes, it just seems like it takes a long time before he feels very confident out on the floor. So I would be very surprised to see Ferguson, but I definitely think Diallo would be the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Yeah, which blows me away. I didn't even think he would be in the rotation. I
Yeah.
know that they want somebody that plays strong D in that position. So I personally hope it would be Robertson, but it doesn't look like that because Diallo is the first off the bench. I would put Nader above there just because I know he's a reliable shooter at least. Diallo is just so unpredictable as far as like this team is so good about taking care of the ball and taking such great shots and not wasting possessions. And Diallo to me is the one wild card, that can kind of like throw that out of sync. But I will say if he plays with the starters, he'll be less likely to do that because the ball's going to be in Chris Paul's hands the most. It'll be in Shea's hands, less likely to be in Diallo's
Yeah.
hands. But hopefully Dort will play and it won't come to that.
I was just gonna say with Diallo, it'll be all contingent. If this scenario plays out, I think it's important to note that he just fouls a ton. If he's going to be the primary defender on Harden to start a game, you could see Robertson out there really quickly because that's the recipe for two quick ones in the first few minutes, and he could get the yank really quick.
Yeah, he really could. He really could. I think his leash is short. The rotations are going to be interesting in the playoffs. Let's go ahead and jump ahead to talk about Rockets Thunder. It's insane. The first season without Russell Westbrook, the Thunder are playing Russell Westbrook. It's like a Hollywood writer with like a sick and twisted mind is just writing the script for the Thunder. I mean, at this point, it's just funny. All the twists and turns of the Thunder saga. I mean, playing Russ in the first year without him. First of all, how do you think the Thunder match up? And then we'll just kind of break down the series a little bit.
I think the matchup is very, very interesting, and watching the Rockets in the bubble and even before then, it just feels like they're looking for a close game at the end, and it feels like they are hoping to just weather runs and play the math and let the threes keep them in games until the last 4 or 5 minutes where they feel they have the advantage. And it'll be interesting to see against a team against Oklahoma City that has been the best clutch team in the entire league. I think Oklahoma City looks at it the same way. They'll get to those last 4 or 5 minutes in completely different ways, but I think the Thunder are just wanting to have a close game at the end, and they feel confident in what they have to win out. Like you're saying, that it's just inconceivable that Oklahoma City gets Houston in their first matchup.
Yeah.
After trading Russ, is against him, throwing Harden, throwing Chris Paul against his former team. It's just crazy. I love our size against Houston, and I think every team in the West would say the same thing. They would love their size against Houston. And I think Houston looks at every other team and says, we love what we have against their size.
Right.
A healthy Adams is huge. A bouncy Adams is huge. If he can play at peak Adams level, which we've seen, it's going to be massive. And I think we look back at the Houston-Oklahoma City game in Houston where Oklahoma City came back from, I think it was like 20-something, maybe 18 down in the second half as a barometer. The Rockets don't have anybody to guard Dennis Schroeder in that three-guard lineup. And if Eric Gordon isn't going to be 100% and you're asking Russ to guard in a disciplined way for extended minutes against one of these guards, I think Oklahoma City has a huge advantage there.
You bring up a great point. The size difference is going to be a huge storyline in this, and whether or not Steven Adams and Nerlens Noel can stay on the floor. Because obviously what the Rockets want to do is to take the bigs out of the paint. Their center is PJ Tucker or Robert Covington, and they can shoot threes. So they want to draw everybody out of the paint, open up the lane for Russ to drive and kick, and then there's no rim protection if you bring Steven Adams out, and then, less rebounding, but somebody's got to guard PJ Tucker. I get it. But the Thunder will have a huge rebounding edge. And then an offensive end, I know that PJ Tucker is a strong guy for 6'5", but you still got Steven Adams who can score. Now, I will say it's tough to make anything of the season series that the Thunder won 2-1 and looked like the better team, because this is a completely different team. That's when they had Capella all 3 games. So all that's
Yeah.
kind of out the window. But you're right about they don't have anybody to guard Dennis Schroeder in that 3-guard lineup. I think that it'll be a high-scoring series because of it. I think both teams are going to have a hard time guarding the other because of
Yeah.
all those things. Now, I will say the wild card, I know it's nuts because he's a rookie. He was a number 23 pick overall, and we're all on this bubble hype because he didn't do a whole lot before this. He flashed here and there. But Darius Bazley has played the 5 in the bubble, and Donovan has specifically talked about him doing that in the playoffs. They had a good inkling that they were going to play the Rockets. With Bazley showing that he can shoot the 3 ball and that he brings something offensively and you have to guard him, and seeing as how he's 6'9" and has a 7-foot wingspan, what kind of wild card do you think Bazley could be at the 5 in a series versus the Rockets?
Yeah, I think it would be massive, and I think he's going to get that shot. One player I'm kind of, and you may disagree with. I think before Adams gets played off the floor in a Houston series, I think Gallo could get played off the floor. I think Adams has the quickness and the foot speed to keep up, and that could be completely wrong. But I think before Adams gets schemed off, it'll be Gallo, because he looks so slow, and he may just be pacing himself. He may know what's ahead of him, but he doesn't look 100%. He doesn't look like he's moving that well. I think he was 0 for 6 from 3 tonight. Just doesn't look like he has his legs under him. And if Oklahoma City is going to advance, he's going to be a huge part of their success, and they need him to start looking like himself again.
Yeah, I agree. Gallo has been so I would say up and down in the bubble, but he's been mostly down. I mean, he's had a couple of good sharp games. I still just feel like Gallo has been Gallo for so long. I feel like this is kind of fluky, and the Lions have been in and out. Not everybody. It's just been a weird deal. So I feel like that Gallo will be himself. And I think that, honestly, I do disagree from this standpoint. I think he's a huge weapon in that series because he's a big that can shoot, which is one of the things that works against the Rockets. I mean, if they really wanted to, at some point, they could play Gallo at the 5 even. If they want to go small, let's say they want to put, whether it's Bazley or Dre or Dort in along with the other 3 point guards. There's a lot of different various things that they can do, knowing that Gallo is 6'10",
Yeah.
and he could guard conceivably, a Covington or PJ Tucker on the other end if it's just like, getting out and sitting at the 3-point line.
The lineup that I think we're probably going to see is the 3 point guards plus Dort plus Bazley. I think that's your small lineup with Bazley at the 5, and you could throw Gallo in there at the 5 like you're saying, but I think the 3 point guards with Dort in there, assuming he's good to go, it's the defensive potential of those 4, and then throw in whoever you want at the 5. Throw in Dre at the 5. Throw in Bazley at the 5. I think you have some. Throw in Adams at the 5. I think you have some real potential to have a good 2-way lineup.
What's great is we've seen Donovan toy with different rotations and lineups and not necessarily stick to one thing. And we've heard him in his pressers saying, different matchups will call for different rotations. That's so encouraging going forward. God bless Scotty Brooks, but knowing what we had, before and how the rotations were rigid no matter what, no matter the matchup, knowing that Donovan will be willing to change things. And we've seen him in playoff series versus the Spurs and the Warriors. He's pretty good in playoff series as far as, schemes and analyzing after games and changing things. There's so many playoff series where I feel like we had the disadvantage as far as coaching goes, but D'Antoni versus Donovan, I feel good about that.
Yeah, I do as well, and I think they're both elite. I think Donovan has proven himself to be a top-tier NBA coach this year, and of course, D'Antoni is well regarded. He's fantastic, and I think his willingness to embrace what has seemingly come from Daryl Morey for this team. His ability to plug and play these guys in this lineup and have the trust in them to make it work, even when it doesn't always look that pretty, even when there's a lot of outside noise. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Honestly, it's going to be the most talked about, hyped up series in the playoffs as far as the first round goes. I mean, I know whoever the Lakers play, it'll be big. It'll probably be the Blazers. That'll be hyped. Dame versus the Lakers. Clippers going against Luka. That'll be hyped. But nothing will compare to the hype around OKC versus Russell Westbrook. This is like Lakers playing Kobe. It would be like the Mavs versus Dirk Nowitzki. It will get so hyped, and I'm here for it. This team wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs. Now they're going to be in the most talked about playoff series of the first round.
And potentially the 4 seed. They could potentially have the virtual home court advantage, which who would have thought that after that trade that Oklahoma City could finish higher than Houston in standings?
Yeah, here's the thing. I wanted the Thunder to lose tonight to have a chance at the first round draft pick, but now that they won, I want a full out win on Friday versus the Clippers. I want that momentum going into it, but the petty in me wants me to be able to tweet out that the Thunder finished above the Houston Rockets after taking 2 first round draft picks and 2 pick swaps from them, and they were supposed to be a championship contender, and the Thunder were supposed to be rebuilding, and they finished ahead of them, and they would have the home court advantage. I am full on petty as far as wanting them to finish 4 now.
Absolutely. And it's a bummer that we lose out on the first round pick. And if only we had 15 first round picks over the next 7 years, we'd probably feel a little bit better. Yeah. Oh, wait, we do.
Yeah. I think exactly.
It's just a huge win all around.
Well, and the one other bright side is it converts to a 2022 second rounder, which that may be the double draft where kids are coming out of high school and college. So if you're ever going to want a second rounder, it would be in the 2022 draft because there's going to be twice the amount of talent. So second rounder will carry more value that year than it normally would.
That's a good point. I hadn't put that together that's what that converts to.
As long as Lou Dort's knee is okay, this was a fun night. Ryan, thanks so much for joining, and thank you so much for listening to the Daily Thunder podcast. Go ahead and say cheers again because everyone has ended on cheers, and it'll be weird if you don't say it.
Cheers.